What's up, y'all? It's your host with the most, the real Taylor Nicole, back at it again with another video for y'all. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. If you're listening on Apple Podcasting or Spotify, I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Thanks for tuning in with me, guys. Well, your host with the most is back at it again with another video for y'all. This is episode 32. Okay, episode 32. And before we start, I'd like to get a little warm up and talk to y'all real quick. So, hey, guys, just so y'all are aware, the mini-series Anguish has been completely shot. It's all recorded. It's in its final draft stages of being edited. And then I think it's March 19th, the season should drop. So about the third week of March, Anguish will drop. Keep your calendars marked. The third week of March, Anguish will drop. I will give you guys like a little sneak peek trailer type deal before the show airs. But like I said, keep in mind, Anguish is coming, baby. Also, on top of that, don't forget, starting next month, we have Black History Mondays, miniseries Wednesdays, and of course, like always, podcast Fridays. Y'all need to stay caught up with your girl. Stay caught up with your girl, because I'm going to keep bringing y'all that fire, all right? But without further ado, y'all know how we do. We like to get into it. So let's start getting into it. Once again, today is episode 32. The name of the movie we're dealing with is Judas and the Black Messiah. This movie runs for about 2 hours and 6 minutes. It was released February 12th of 2021. The director of this film is Shaka King. Not Shaka Khan, but Shaka King. This movie has been nominated for Academy Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture, and several other nominations and also awards. You can watch this film on YouTube, YouTube TV, Google Play Movies and TV, Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, and Fandango. Once again, you can watch this film on YouTube, YouTube TV, Google Play Movies and TV, Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, and Fandango at home. So, now that we've got that out the way, let's go ahead and introduce the cast. So, as y'all know, I butcher names, and I apologize ahead of time. Most of these names I'm about to butcher. I'm sorry. So we got Mr. Daniel Kaluuya as Fred Hampton. We have Lakeith Stanfield as Bill O'Neill, or William O'Neill. Dominique Fishback as Deborah Johnson. Dominique Thorne as Judy Harmon. Algie Smith as Jake Winters. Jermaine Fowler as Mark Clark. Lil Rel Howard as Wayne, and Ashton Sanders as Jimmy Palmer. And there were so many other people in this film. It was a star-studded cast, okay? There were some folks in this film, okay? I just wanted to mention off a few names for you guys, as you know. But before we continue, once again, I do want to thank everybody who has been watching and tuning in with your girl week to week. Like I said, keep tuning in with me, keep watching with me. We're going to do nothing but keep growing up and going up and going up. I got faith. I believe in it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and recap the movie. The movie is set back in Chicago, Illinois. As most people who've probably seen this movie already know. So, when the movie opens up, it opens up with like real life video footage from back in the day. A little bit of footage from the real William O'Neill. I believe a few, it's just Huey P. Newton. It was so many different footage, so much footage shown in the beginning that you kind of got to watch the movie to know exactly what was going on in the footage. But after that goes off, we end up meeting Bill first. And Bill goes to like this pool hall where he pretends to be an FBI agent, but really he's a carjacker. But he uses an FBI badge to pretend to, to be a cop and come arrest the perpetrator that has the nice car he wants to try to take. So what he did was he went to the pool hall, he scouted a GTO sitting outside, red GTO, and he's like, all right, cool. It's a young cat that got this car. I'm going to be able to get it from him easily. So he goes into the pool hall, he asks whose car it is. He tells him it was reported stolen and he need to take him in for questioning. And he gets ready to try to take Buddy in. They knock the hat off of his head, and they realize he's not really a FBI agent. And you got to watch more of the movie to see all the ruffle. But anyway, He ends up getting in the car, getting away with the car, but however, he gets pulled over by the police, right? So he gets pulled over by the police about the car. They take him in. They take him in, but it's an FBI agent who comes in and interrogates him. And you'll think that's strange. What is an FBI agent doing in here talking to a carjacker? Well, he explains to him that he can get a year and a half for the carjacking, 5 years for impersonating a federal agent. And he tells him, pretty much like, you can either do that time or you can go home, right? Doesn't tell you anything else. They just say that. Then after that, we meet Fred, who's giving his speech, and watch the movie to hear his speech, because I wouldn't do this speech any justice by telling you what he said. Hearing him say it, even though it's not the real Fred, but hearing him say it the way that Fred would have said it, honestly comes out better, to be honest with you. But anyway, so he's giving his speech, and during his speech, one of the brothers in a dashiki, African dashiki, he gets up and he walks out because he's like, I'm not with this bull. It's just spilling, is what he's saying. Everybody else is cool with what Fred said. Just one person. One person like, not happening. I ain't for it. Basically, he was recruiting people in his speech to join his nation, the Black Panther movement, if you will. He was, recruiting them to join. And Brother Man was like, nah, I'm cool, brother. So he walks out. After his speech, Deborah approaches him and tells him, like, pretty much, you need to learn how to talk to people. If you want to recruit people, you need to know how to talk to them, because how you talking to some of these people is as if you're putting them down. Like, you're not uplifting these folk. You're putting them down. Don't put people down that you're trying to recruit. Talk to them with some class, talk to them with some respect. And Fred was known for the gift of gab. He had that talk. He just had to tweak it, is basically what she was telling him. You need to tweak what you're saying to make it these people want to listen to you and follow you. So they had a little conversation. You got a class that Fred is teaching with most of his recruitees that he has, right? And somehow Bill managed to be in that class. No backstory on how Bill got into it. None of that. Bill just was sitting in the class. Now, Bill is in there trying to flirt with one of the girls in there, one of the sisters. And he's so busy trying to flirt, Fred catches him, calls him out on it, right? Now, basically, he tells Bill, like, ain't no fraternizing with the sisters in the recruitment. These are your sisters. You want a woman, find her outside of these walls, because these in here, these are your sisters. And you disrupted my class with all this jabber jabber. So after they have that conversation, after the class situation, during the class situation, I don't even want to bring this up because I thought it was funny. In the movie, Fred is going over everything kind of artillery and weaponry that they got, and he mentions a rocket launcher, and Bill goes, "These niggas got rocket launchers," but he looked terrified when he looks terrified when Fred says it. So he's like, "What the hell? I don't know about this." So like I said, he got called out. They get in the car with Bill next. They in the car with Bill, and they giving Fred all their weapons and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember if Bill got the car. I think Bill got the car from the FBI agent first beforehand. Yeah, he did, because they was trying to. So here's the thing. Bill basically was told by Mitchell, the FBI agent that he talked to, and it was interrogating him about the carjacking and the impersonating a federal officer. Roy Mitchell was the one who was talking to him, and Bill ended up telling Roy, if you want me to get in good with Fred and them, you got to give me a car so I can get them around to wherever they need to go so they could trust me. And he ends up getting a car from them, right? So the car they're in is the car that Roy gave Bill, basically. So that's a little backstory. So they're in the car with Bill. Like I said, Judy and I want to say Judy, Jake, and Palmer give them their weapons basically, because they're going into these specific meetings with people unarmed to show a leap of faith, right? So they all giving up their guns, and Bill, old scary ass, gonna say, "Dang, how many guns you got?" Like, you know what I'm saying? But he did have a lot. He had a lot that he was giving. So anyway, they end up going to I think it's the same pool. I'm not too sure, but basically they go to this pool hall, and Bill is a little nervous because, like I told you earlier, he went to a similar pool hall, if not the same pool hall, and he tried to carjack a dude in there. So he's already nervous, and then they dealing with a gang, an actual real gang, right? That Fred was trying to recruit. He was trying to recruit some of the gang members to help team up against the man, right? But the gang wasn't having it. They pretty much told Fred and his people they need to get the hell out of there, and they kind of got into a little brawl. Bill showed his loyalty by fighting with them, with the pool stick and all that other jazz, right? But the more you watch this film, the more you starting to realize that everything Bill was doing was to gain trust of Fred, to set Fred up. But see, Bill was given a bogus story by Roy Mitchell as to why they were going after Fred. Okay? They gave him a bogus story about Fred. Watch the movie. They gave him a bogus story about why they was going after Fred, and the reason why it was important to get Fred off the street and all this jazz, right? Now, J. Edgar Hoover, or Edgar, is it Edgar? Yeah, J. Edgar, whatever. Hoover, his old ugly ass, he's behind all of this. He's behind them trying to shut Fred down. Okay? He's behind it. He's behind Huey P. Newton. He's behind a lot of the black leaders. He was behind a lot of them trying to shut them down, right? Well, anyway, so like I said, Mitchell gave Bill a bogus story about Fred, but after Fred had that meeting with the gangs, it didn't go too well. He later goes and meets with the Crowns, and he meets with a guy named Steele, who's played by Chris Davis, and he's one of the leaders of the Crowns. Well, while they're having their meeting and exchanging, Steele reads a letter that the pigs, is what Fred called them, the pigs wrote up and try to say that the Panthers wrote that about the Crowns, basically pinning them against each other so that way Fred wouldn't have any allies and he'd be on his own, basically, is what they were trying to do. But Fred assures Steele, like, I didn't write that, bro. That came from the feds. And you know what? He said it came from the pigs, and Steele said pigs don't write, and he said, but feds do. So he pretty much tell him, like, bro, I didn't write that. We didn't write. None of us wrote that. Well, while they're talking, one of the buddies in the Crown's gang recognizes Bill, and he gets to talking about, he get to talking out of turn. He get put back in place. But when he said what he said, Judy and Palmer caught wind of what was said. They caught wind. They heard it. They like, wait a minute, what? So the meeting gets adjourned. Pretty much Fred kind of wins over the Crowns a little bit, not a lot, but he wins them over good enough to having good faith that they're going to be able to link and do some work. Well, Judy don't say nothing on screen to Fred, but I'm assuming she told Fred that they need to go shake Bill down and figure out what's going on because of what she overheard. So when they're leaving, Fred goes and rides with somebody else, but Judy and Palmer tell Bill they're going to ride with him. They basically shake him down because basically the little young dude that recognized him was like, I see you turned in your badge to be part of be down with the people, basically. So when they heard that, that's what they approached him about. Judy and Palmer. They like, what's this talk about a badge? So he tells them a story about why he has a fake FBI badge and what he used it for, and how he was a car thief, and they make him prove that he can steal a car. They make him prove it. But mind you, he wouldn't have to hotwire a car if he didn't need to. He would just steal the keys from the person, from the perp, basically, and or from the victim. I'm sorry. He would take the keys from the victim. Well, they make him prove that he know how to steal a car. He proves it to him, and Judy is still on the fence about Bill, and so is Palmer, but they don't say nothing. They kind of just, sweep it underneath the rug. Well, after he proves a little bit of what he know how to do, Like I said, they still don't kind of trust him. But after that scene, we see Fred and Deborah becoming real close. Like they bond and they flirting through poetry and speeches and stuff. They flirting through there, right? Now here's where, and God rest this man soul, but this is where he's a little bit hypocritical at, because he was talking trash to Bill for trying to holler at one of the sister soldiers, but it was okay for him to holler at Deborah. And I maybe because Deborah's position was different than the group of women that was in that class he was teaching. I don't know. Or maybe because maybe because he didn't know who Bill was. I don't know. I still question why he got so upset with Bill trying to holler at Shorty. Like, he should have just told him to holler at her after they done. That's what I would say. If you want to talk to her after we done. But he tried to shut it down completely. But that's neither here nor there. So they have their little romance start at that point. That's when they started having a romance kick in. So they basically, so this is the tail end, I think, of 67, 68-ish. So it's somewhere in between 67, 68-ish, because Fred, well, I ain't gonna tell you yet, but I want to say it's the tail end of 67 to 68-ish, somewhere around there is the tail end of it, of where the story is being told from. It's in the 60s. So like I said, Fred and Deborah, they was flirting. Next, Fred eventually goes and sees the Southern folk, the white Southern folk, and he recruits them as well. He lets them know, like, we can band together. They already disowned y'all. They see y'all as white trash, so come on and join us, and let's band together. Let's make Iron Fist. Well, he gets the Southern folk, and then he also goes and gets the Puerto Ricans. Now, the Puerto Ricans had just had to bury one of their people from the police killing them. So he gets them. Now they got a solid iron fist with the Southern white folks and the Puerto Ricans and the Black Panthers, right? Well, they give a speech. The feds is watching. They like, okay, this man is a little too strong. He got Southern white people and Puerto Ricans to be on his side. No, ma'am, no ham, no turkey. So Hoover is still out here plotting against Fred. He's still plotting against Fred. So he like, we got to get Fred off the streets. Get him off these streets. So they come up with a BS charge, and they arrest him for stealing $77 worth of ice cream. I looked it up to see if that was true. That is actually true. That is what he got arrested for, was $77 worth of ice cream that they claim he stole. And they locked him up for it, right? So while he's locked up, Bill gets moved up in the ranks, in the security ranks at least, not in the big ranks, but he gets moved up in the security ranks. So now he's head of security basically. So he goes to one of the houses and he runs into George Sams, who's played by Trail Hill or Terrell. I don't know how to pronounce that man's name. I'm sorry, Mr. Hill. He's played by Mr. Hill. And Sam tells George Sam tells Bill that they found a rat and they killed him. Basically, he tells them they tortured him and they did all these crazy things to him, and then they ended up killing him. Right? So Bill a little terrified now because he like, so if they find out I'm a snitch, that's what they're gonna do to me. So Bill gives Mitchell the news, and Mitchell think he got one up on the FBI's lead investigation, because he goes and tells the one of the other agents like, yo, we just found out one of the Panthers killed somebody and they tortured him. And the dude like, oh yeah, I know about that already. I had him do it. I had him pretend like this person was a snitch, and had him take care of him to make him look like he was down with the Panthers. And Mitchell like, what kind of diabolical shit is that? Why would you do that? Don't say nothing though. He just looking like, wow. So Fred is still locked up, and while he's locked up, we find out Deborah is pregnant. She don't say it, but you could tell from the movie. It shows you that basically she's pregnant. She getting sick. She keep throwing up. But but Fred don't know none of this. But he's been writing her letters and sending her letters and stuff like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the feds got a hold to his letters and scanned copies of his letters and stuff like that. But anyway, let's continue. So while Fred is locked up, Jimmy Palmer goes, he's walking past like a little shop or deli shop or something like that, and he sees the police and they're harassing some black men. He goes in there. Now, forgive me for what I'm about to say, but what happened to Palmer was Palmer's fault. Because when he seen them in there harassing them, he could have just went in there and used his words. He went in there and pulled out a gun on them people and thought they weren't going to shoot him. You're black with a gun in your hand. They're going to shoot you. So he ended up shooting a cop, and I think he ended up killing him. And the other one ended up shooting him twice and knocking him down. So now Palmer's in the hospital, right? And like I said, all the while, Fred is still locked up. Okay? So Jimmy gets shot, and at this point, now the feds, it kind of jump around a little bit, because after Jimmy gets shot, some stuff started to happen, and then randomly, now the feds is barricading the Panthers building, but the perpetrator that shot the cop was already in their custody. So for them to surround the Black Panthers base or home base was kind of odd and didn't make sense to me. But Judy, Deborah, Bill, and one of the other fellas was in the building still. And they surround him, they in there telling him to come out. And Bill like, oh, I'm going to go on the roof. Y'all cover right here. I'm going to go on the roof. And trust me, it'll make sense. His scary ass is trying to hurry up and figure out how to get out of the building. Because, once again, he's an informant. So he's trying to avoid getting arrested. So he tries to escape, but somebody's blocking the downstairs. So he has to go on the roof. So he goes on the roof, and the police start shooting because he's on the roof. So they yell out sniper and think he's a sniper, and they start shooting. So now they're shooting. Now Judy starts shooting. And then old boy that was downstairs comes upstairs with her and starts shooting. Now Bill got in a way out. So Bill leaves. Okay, Bill dips. The dude that was shooting with Judy ends up getting hit. So now Judy and him gotta surrender. They gotta give up. So Judy and him get arrested. They go to jail. Well, at least that's what we left to believe, is that they went to jail. Well, when they arrested them two, they set the Black Panthers base on fire. The home base, they set it on fire, and destroyed it, right? And Deborah, she pregnant and all, she was trying to get to the stuff. And Jake Winters, he like, nah, mama, you can't go. Like, it's gone. Just let it go. Just let it go. So at this point now, Bill is scared. Bill don't want no more parts of this. Bill like, I'm good, bro. So he called Mitchell. He tell Mitchell like, bro, I'm out of this. You got what you wanted. Fred is in jail. I'm good. Mitchell like, that's not how this works. You do what I ask you to do until I'm done with you. You don't get to do nothing else but what I ask you to do. When I'm done with you, then I'll let you walk free. So now Bill's stuck, because you open up this can of worms and now you stuck in them. Because now, if you back away, they already got what they wanted. They already got Fred locked up. But now that if you back away, now you go to jail. So they gonna end up going back and rebuilding the Black Panthers headquarters. And Bill surprisingly helps. You know, he's the lead on it. He's lead on them rebuilding it. And then the Crowns, they come and help and offer some hands to build the home base. And after they get it all fixed up, Fred finally gets set free. So now Fred is free. And he finds out when he gets released that he got a baby baking in the oven. So now he happy. In a way, you can kind of tell Bill was trying to figure out a way to turn a new leaf, but he still was scared of going to prison. So he still was on the fence, basically. He was borderline for them, but also for himself. He was still conflicted because he didn't know where to go with it. Well, Jimmy Palmer ends up dying. And he basically died because they moved him from the hospital he was at down to the county hospital where he wasn't getting any treatment, and he just died from the gunshot wounds, basically. So Square Boy Jake, he out for blood. He upset, he pissed, he mad all the way around, so he out for blood, okay? He ain't having none of that bullshit. He want answers to what happened to his friend, and he was going to be damned if he didn't get them. And he went, and he actually went and talked to another informant, or ex-snitch, if you will, and was trying to get information for him, but he wouldn't tell him anything. So at this point, Jake went rogue. And nobody went to go look for Jake, by the way. Nobody. He just went rogue, and that was that. Um, Deborah and Fred end up sharing a moment about her pregnancy. They end up having this conversation. Once again, watch the film so you can see the conversation they had. But they end up having this conversation about her pregnancy and about how she feels about how she would be as a mother, and also about bringing a child into a middle of a war zone, because they're at war with the man, So it's like, this is a scary time to try to bring my son, when I didn't know it's a boy, but to bring our child into this world. But before they had an uncomfortable conversation, they previously that day, they had a welcome home chairman celebration for Fred, where Fred was giving his speech, and he was talking to the people, and he even stated in his speech, some of y'all that are against me may be in this crowd right now, but he didn't care. And while he's talking, Roy Mitchell's in the crowd looking dead at Bill while they're talking. While Fred is talking, and they're making eye contact. They're looking dead at each other. But anyway, fast forward. Remember I told you Jake went rogue. Jake started killing cops left and right, picking them off left and right. He couldn't take it. His friend was dead. Nobody would give him no answers as to why he got transferred or whatever the case may be. Now he mad. He picking cops off left and right. But of course, that comes to an end because they end up picking him off and killing him, right? So now he's out of the picture, and Bill is having nightmares, and which rightfully so. You should have been having nightmares. He's having nightmares about everything because now he's just, like I say, he's trying to figure out what to do, how to separate himself from it. Well, Fred eventually went to go see Jimmy's mom, Jimmy Palmer. He went to go see his mom, and he had a talk with her. And just came to be a listening ear for her, basically. And they talked and they had conversations, and she pretty much told him, don't let them paint my son's legacy out to be some type of cop killer or some type of murderer, because although he might have done that, that's not who he was. So they later find out that Fred's appeal was denied, and they sent him back to Menard. Well, although they all think that that's where Fred's going back, is to jail, Hoover has other plans. He wants to eliminate Fred completely. He basically tells Mitchell, Huey P. Newton, I forget the other gentleman's name, but he basically tells him, like, these men went to prison and became famous for going to prison for serving eight people. We need to eliminate Fred. We're not going to make him famous. We're going to eliminate him. But see, that's what they was wrong at. You might have want to eliminate him to keep him from being famous, but that didn't stop it. But anyway, so Mitchell has dinner with Bill and tells Bill, I need you to draw me a blueprint of Fred's apartment because we going in there to get him. And Bill like, what y'all going in there to do? Y'all gonna go kill him? What you killing him for? He's going back to jail. His appeal was revoked. He's going back. And Mitchell don't want to tell him too much, but he just tell him, draw me a blueprint. So Bill's like, what the fuck? So anyway, so he pretty much tells Bill, like, I got you by the balls. You're going to do what I tell you to do. So Bill does it. He gets up from their dinner. Before Bill got up from the dinner, Mitchell told Bill pretty much that if you don't do what I asked you to do, them Panthers gonna find out that you've been snitching on them this whole time. And the same way that other man was tortured and beaten to death and killed, that's the same thing that's gonna happen to you when they find out you was snitch, if not 10 times worse. So now Bill is in a position where he's like, dang, I what do I do? So because Mitchell didn't trust that Bill was going to do what he asked him to do, that's when Mitchell sent Wayne in to give Bill a little words of encouragement. And he gives him like this little fine white powder. And Bill like, what the heck is this? Like, what do you, I'm not gonna kill this man. What is wrong with y'all? So Wayne tells him it ain't gonna do nothing but make Fred sleepy. That's it. Just give it to him. It'll make him sleepy and let him handle it from there. So Bill's so frantic, he chases after Wayne and asks him, like, who are you? Like, bro, what is you on? Like, who are you? Who sent you to me? And Wayne rolls down the window and hands Bill a little black wallet looking thing. And Bill opens it and it's his fake FBI badge. So to me, Bill, you had a way out. The evidence that he had that you were impersonating a cop was technically out the window. He gave it back to you. So at this point, Bill now has to suffer with another conflicting ordeal. Do I do what I'm asked to do, or do I not do what I'm asked to do and take my chances on what happens moving forward? Well, anywho, Bill takes the sleepy medicine, and he pretty much, they don't say it, but in my opinion, from what it seems like, Bill pretty much gave Fred the sleepy medicine, because later that night they were all talking about ways to get Fred out of here. They like, everybody like, if you want to run, we understand. You and Deborah can start over, have a new life. Like, you don't have to go back to jail, man. And Fred, like, y'all so worried about me when this money you gave me can go feed a bunch of different mouths. Like, no, let's worry about the people, cause I'm not running. It's only a 5-year bid. I'm gonna sit down and do my time and just, deal with it from there. Not knowing what they had planned for him though. So later that night, everybody goes to sleep except for the people who's on watch for Fred. Okay. So they're all on watch for Fred, and they hear footsteps, they see footsteps, they hear a bunch of moving surrounding Fred's apartment. So they all, getting themselves together. Somebody's like, I'm gonna go get the chairman, and so they all rushing around, scrambling around, and everything. And like I said, Bill had to give Fred that sleepy medicine because he was knocked out cold when they came. So they knock on the door, and the thing is, the gentleman who was going to answer the door, had he not said anything and maybe just waited, they probably could have won that ordeal. But unfortunately, the guy knocked on the door. As soon as he said, "Who is it?" they shot right through the door. Boom, hit him, took him out. They took him out. Then they just start spraying. They shooting everywhere. And Deborah was sitting on top of Fred, covering him, rocking back and forth. She was covering him to try to, protect him. And they had finally stopped shooting, and only a lot of them people had got hit. A lot of them had got hit. A few had died, and she, like I said, she was on top of him, rocking back and forth because she's, praying, that they are all right. Well, they make everybody who's still alive get up, no matter if they shot or not. You still alive, get up and come in here so we can see you and put you in handcuffs. And that's what they do. They handcuff them all, including Deborah, and they walk past her. And when I tell y'all, this part in the movie pissed me off. They walked past Deborah, went into the room Fred was sleeping in, and you hear him say, "Oh, this one looks like he's going to make it." And then they assassinate Fred in the most cold-blooded way you can do it. This man couldn't defend himself. He couldn't do nothing. And they knew it. They knew they had to sneak and take him out. So that's what they did. They snuck and took him out. They knew he couldn't protect himself. So Bill ends up getting paid for Fred's death. They give him his own gas station and some money and his freedom, so he wouldn't have to go to jail. And although Bill never said it, the way the movie depicted it is as if you can look in Bill's face and realize that he knew he made a mistake. You can look at him and tell that he knew he made a mistake. Now, there's some things in the movie I did not mention to you guys that because I want you to go back and watch it. Like, there was an episode about, I mean, not episode, I'm sorry, there was a scene about a bomb. There's all other kind of stuff in the movie that I didn't bring up, but it's because I want you to go watch it. Well, like I said, Bill gets paid off of that. And crazy thing is, even though Bill might have felt like he probably went too far with his informantry, He still remained an informant for the FBI and still remained an active Black Panthers member until like the early 70s. He earned about $200,000 working for the FBI as an informant. Well, the equivalent of $200,000. And in 1989, he gave his first ever interview, his first and only interview, and it was called Eyes on the Prize 2. That was the only interview he ever had given. And when he gave his interview, Bill says in his interview, because the guy asked him, "What would you tell your son?" And Bill says, "I would tell him I was a part of the struggle, and he was dedicated and had courage." And I asked myself, what courage? What courage did you have, sir? Because you got an innocent man gunned down because you couldn't face the fact that your crime that you committed was going to put you away for 6.5 years. That was your fault. You committed that crime. You chose your life of freedom over another man's life in general. Although you might not have known their intentions and what they were planning on doing, but the fact that you were a black man and he was a black man, and the feds were trying to get you to take him down by dangling a little bit of your freedom in your face was pointless. Because shortly after he gave that documentary, he killed himself. January 15th, 1990. He killed himself when that docuseries aired. 2 days after. So I say, what did you did all of that, and you went years as an informant to turn around and kill yourself. For what? You should just took your 6.5 year bid and just dealt with it from there. Yeah, they probably would have found somebody. They had all kind of informants apparently in the Black Panther Party. That's what the movie was basically showing, that there were so many informants that were active in the Black Panther Party that it's a wonder the Black Panther Party made it as far as it did. But that's the end of the recap for the movie. Let's jump right into the notes. And in my notes, I wanted to bring up that during this filming, Huey P. Newton was in jail during the time that this movie was set back in. Nixon was the president at the time, and like I said, J. Edgar Hoover was basically the star in the villainistic show. I already told you guys earlier that I felt like Fred was being a little bit hypocritical about the dating the chicks thing. I will give Bill this. He was also a smooth criminal too. He was smooth as hell too. He was smooth as silk. Because not only did he fool the Black Panthers for so long, they never knew that he was an informant, probably until a little bit before he probably killed himself. Is when they probably found out he was an informant. He finessed them out of a car. Because I don't, they fell for that, getting him a car. They fell for that. But I will say, Fred was very courageous, a proud black man, and he definitely was a smooth ass talker. If he was still alive today, and if you would have got, like, if we would have been able to hear him in today's time how he talks, he would have inspired so many people of today's time. And I feel like it's people like him, Malcolm, even Muhammad Ali. It's people like them that I feel like these young black men and young black women need to see. This is why these movies to me are important for our culture to see, so you can see what we had before, so you can see how they talked beforehand. A lot of them did not talk with cursing or disrespecting their tone. They came with such intelligence and immaculence in their communication that it should have exuberated into the new society, but it didn't. Also, like I said, if things happen in this film the way they happened in real life, but 10 times worse, that's just horrible. Because the film itself, the movie will piss you off when you watch it. This movie will piss you off, especially when you start realizing that a lot of this stuff possibly really did happen in this type of way. oh, it's gonna piss you off because you're gonna be like, what the man? Um, in the movie, they had a bunch of cops running out the building when they set the Black Panthers headquarters on fire, and I said to myself, why do they need all them cops to set that building on fire? Why did y'all even set it on fire? Was the real question. The hatred back then was unmatched. Uh, the real J. Edgar Hoover and the one they had portrayed in the movie, yeah, they ugly, big ugly motherfuckers, ugly. And Hoover was a menace for real, for real. And rumor has it they said he used to wear lingerie underneath his suits. Just saying, you ain't, I didn't see it. They said it. Um, but Hoover exuberated a hatred for black folks. It was depicted in this film, and it was also depicted in other films about Hoover that he really did not like black people. Like, so much that in the movie there was a scene where he was talking to Mitchell about his daughter dating a black man. I'm telling y'all, go watch this movie. There's so much stuff I did not bring up in this podcast because I want y'all to go see the movie, and I want y'all to come back in the comments and say, yo, Tay, that movie was X, Y, and Z. Because like I said earlier, people probably won't admit it, but Jimmy Palmer getting shot, if it happened the way the movie said it did, in a way it was Jimmy's fault he got shot. It's not his fault that they let him die, but it is his fault he ended up getting shot. Because the way the movie depicted as if he seen the police harassing some black men, he went in there, and said something to him, and then pulled his gun out and started shooting. If that's really how that happened, then yeah, it kind of is his fault. But if the movie isn't depicting what really happened that night, meaning, let's say he walked in there and they was getting ready to try to gun them black men down and he defended them because of that, that's one thing. But if he just walked in there because they was harassing them and patting them down and he just started shooting, then yeah, it's his fault he got shot, unfortunately. As I mentioned earlier, Bill had a way out when um when he got back that fake FBI badge. He had a way out, and I still to this day don't understand why he didn't just walk away. Or hell, he could have told Fred what was going on. He could have told Fred, you need to skip town because they're planning to come and kill you, bro. Just leave. Just skip town. Just get out of here. Like, y'all can beat me up and make it look like y'all found out I was an informant and beat me up. I don't care. But you need to leave because they're planning on killing you. I would have came clean that night. I just would have. I don't get how nobody else was suspicious of Bill besides Judy and Palmer. Them two, the only two that were suspicious of Bill. Fred, if he was suspicious of Bill, he never let it be known. But nobody else seemed like they were suspicious of Bill. I would have been suspicious of this Negro. I would have been suspicious. He was given suspicious behavior. And honestly, I feel like had Judy never went to jail, then they would have never been able to get Fred like that. But see, they eliminated a lot of his strong-powered and strong-willed people so that they could get to him. Because had Palmer, Jake, and Judy not died or not went to jail, he would have had a stronger force with him. See, them new people he had around him didn't know Fred like they knew Fred. So now Fred was vulnerable. All he had was Deborah, because everybody else was basically pretty much new to his detail, if that makes sense. So to me, unfortunately, that's kind of why they got Fred the way they did, because he didn't really have the original solid people with him from what the movie was showing. So when they ended up killing Fred, they ended up suing. They took the FBI to trial for conspiracy to commit murder/murder, the murder of Fred Hampton. And the trial lasted 12 years. 12 years that this trial lasted, just for them people to only pay them $1.85 million out of the $47.7 million that they asked for. They asked for $47.7 million, and they felt like they only deserved to get them people under $2 million. And I know money doesn't bring back a person, but y'all made me fight y'all for 12 years, and all you would give me was $1.85 million. Come on, man. Come on. But like I said, this film will definitely piss you off. And y'all know, like I said, I haven't found a movie I don't like yet. But I really will rate this movie at 11 out of 10 because this movie showed us the ugly truth about our people. That our people have a tendency to turn on each other just for the sake of our own freedom. When we know a person ain't doing wrong, even though he didn't know Fred, Bill didn't know Fred from a can of paint. But once he got in the Black Panther Party and realized who Fred was and realized what Fred was really about, he should have never let Mitchell corrupt his mind and make him think that Fred was really this bad person. He should have never allowed that, and he did. And it's real life, man. Like this is the type of stuff that happens. They get you at a vulnerable state and make you think that they out to be your friend and they really not. It's crazy to me. But to me, this movie had some real good acting in it. It was a must watch. A story that everybody should at least hear at least once in their lifetime. Because the accuracy in this film, from what I researched, is insane. The accuracy is really real close to what really happened in that time span. That's why I said I think it's from like 67 to 69 is what I think. I think that's how the time span goes, or either late 68 to, I don't know. But it's within a year span. So I want to say it might be 68 of December to 69 of December. But like I said, it just shows that even when a person has the ability to do right, they always have something or someone that's dangling something in front of them to make them choose their decision on what's right and what's wrong. And when it boils down to, it's our decision to make a decision on what's right and what's wrong. And then from what it seems, Bill felt like what he was doing was in the right, even though he knew it was wrong. If that makes sense. Bill knew what he was doing was wrong once he realized that they really was just trying to get close enough to Fred to take him out, and he wasn't doing anything wrong. Bill knew that even though I'm doing this for me and it feels right for me to keep myself out of jail, it's wrong because now I'm putting another man's life at risk. Like I said, this movie will make you mad if you've never seen it before, and if you have seen it before and you rewatching and you ain't watching in a long time, it's gonna make you mad all over again. Keep in mind that this movie will make you think about everyone before you and what they have went through to get us where we are today, and how some of us are only just destroying everything they fought for. Some of us are trying and some of us are not. And if you watch this movie, it'll make you realize, go watch every black docu-series, Malcolm X, Judas and the Black Messiah, One Night in Miami, Betsy. Go watch all them black movies, them black biopics, and I bet you'll notice something in every single one of them. Every single one of them. I'm not gonna tell you what you're gonna notice because you should notice it when you watch it. But that's gonna conclude the episode for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, and share. Argue with your mama. Your girl is out. Peace out.